There has been a lot of discussion on the YouTube about whether or not the world would be better without religion. I actually do believe it would. Not because of the fact that religion itself is the only thing that propagates negative behavior, but because of the simple fact that religion supports, endorses, and even perpetuates delusion. People are believing in an imaginary character being real. There's something inherently wrong with that. It would be the same as a soap opera character, believing that the soap opera character was the person. And when you see the actor, you cannot actually separate the two. It would be akin to believing that the sky is falling because of... It's like the entire thing with the H.G. Wells War of the Worlds is what this reminds me of. The entire concept of religion is the H.G. Wells War of the Worlds event. What happened is they told a story and everybody went all hysterical and got all crazy because they thought it was a real broadcast. This is what religion is to me. It is the telling itself of the H.G. Wells story. So, would the world be better without religion? Of course. Because you would not have something that would be perpetuating, indoctrinating, and enforcing delusion into people. People who would otherwise be connected to reality. But religion destroys that barrier, that connection, that separation between reality and fiction by putting a fictional book or doctrine or story of some sort that purports that their characters are real. And then it tells you over and over again that these characters are real in spite of the fact that you have never seen them, never heard them, cannot test them, do not know that they exist at all. In essence, a fictional character. So these fictional characters are being thought of as real. It breaks down the entire barrier that we have between reality and fiction that allows us to exist within the real world. So all of this argument has really kind of become redundant to me because everybody is pretty much discussing just, well, things would still be bad even with or without it, and things would not be as bad with or without it, and etc., etc., etc. It's all going back and forth, and yet the actual benefit of getting rid of religion has been completely missed. Religion is an institutionalized insanity. It is an institutionalized delusion. It is also endorses, supports, and hides schizophrenia. It also perpetuates so many other delusions, so many other mental instabilities that I can't even remember them all for some odd reason. But none of those have been ever brought up. It's just not something that I see any negative impact to getting rid of, because of the fact that if everybody were connected to reality, we could deal with reality instead of having to deal with these idiotic arguments that are being purported over and over and over again, because the delusional people who are in religion are so easily fooled, so naive, that they actually think that these old arguments are still valid, that they have not been addressed or destroyed or dismantled, completely shattered by other people. Yet they have. Every single argument that I have ever heard a religious person put forward is something that other people have addressed thousands of times, millions of times probably, and have completely shattered these arguments without even trying. But the delusion is so strong in these religious people that they don't even comprehend how ridiculous their arguments are now. And then you have those like William Lane Craig, who are purporting and attempting to sell snake oil to these poor, deluded, and easily fooled people. These gullible and naive people are being sold snake oil from people like William Lane Craig, who I would wager would be an actual atheist just purporting to be religious simply to sell material. That's what all of his arguments sound like. That's exactly what his entire stance sounds like. He knows his arguments are folly. He knows his arguments have failed so many times, and yet he continues to make them because he knows he can sell books as long as he continues to pretend he has somehow won. The religious people who are falling for this would not fall for this if there was no religion. Of course, they would fall for some other con or some other such thing, but it would be easier to say destroy that con's entire argument if there were not millions of people who were brainwashed into thinking that this is actually real. If the millions of people were not so indoctrinated as to fear even contradicting their own belief system, we could point to William Lane Craig, destroy several of his arguments, and everybody would stop buying his crap. But we don't. Instead, everybody's trying to say, well, everybody should have the right to believe whatever they want. Well, yes, but at the same time, they should also be treated for having the delusion that they possess because of what they believe. And it's the same as the people who have alien abduction stories. It's the same as people who have ghost stories. It's the same exact concept. These people honestly believe that their fictional stuff is as real as the air that they're breathing. But it's not. Because a real thing can be tested. A real thing can be proven. A real thing can be demonstrated. A real thing has something that can actually prove itself. But that's still not even the issue. Again, the issue is them believing in something that is not real as being real. Them unquestioningly supporting their religious beliefs just because. That's what we need to address. That's what we should fix. And yet, in all the arguments of whether or not religion is good or bad, and whether or not getting rid of religion would be a good thing, no one has brought this up. I just hear the same old crap over and over again. It's like the religious arguments themselves have become the atheist arguments. So yes, anti-theism, I support it wholeheartedly. You could call me an anti-theist. Simply because of the fact that I do not like seeing people suffer a delusion. Delusions cause people to harm themselves more than anything else. It causes them to completely denounce reality in place of the illusion. Embrace reality. We miss you here.